What's up, you guys? I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre. Welcome back to the channel and this Star Wars Squadrons video. We just had the new Starfighter Simulator release over the course of the weekend, and coming into this, being pretty good at Starfighter Assault Mode in Battlefront 2, I thought I was going to be much better at the game than I actually am. But when I started playing, I ran into a steep skill curve that requires you to master all the controls of your spaceship, including some power management systems that govern how fast and how powerful your ship actually is, and actually give you access to special abilities like boosting and overpowered lasers and shields. Now, the first big change that I noticed coming into this game is how the throttle works. The basic looking around is the same. You have your right stick that moves you up, down, left, and right. Then you have your left stick, and that controls your rolling when you push left or right. But when you use it forwards or backwards, that's what actually governs your throttle. And this is a huge change from Battlefront 2. In this game, it is you can push it forward and it will stay there at full speed. It's kind of like you're controlling that thrust, and if you can pull it all the way backward, you can actually come to a complete stop. And this is something you couldn't do in Battlefront 2. Maybe not exactly the best idea all the time, but it is something that is new to this game. And not only does this throttle govern how fast you go, but it also controls the maneuverability of your starfighter. When you're at maximum speed, you are going very fast, but you cannot turn as fast as possible. There is a sweet spot right in the middle of your throttle. It's highlighted there with a big thick bar on your heads up display. And this is where your spacecraft is actually the most maneuverable that it can be. You can turn faster, roll faster, all that fun stuff. And so if you're in any amount of situations where you need to turn faster, like you're chasing someone, or you've just made a strafing run on a capital ship and you want to turn around fast, you want to drop that throttle down to half so you can turn as quickly as possible. However, there is a better way to do this that has to do with your power management systems. You see, each starfighter has a limited amount of power that it can provide towards each of its systems, weapons, engines, and if your starfighter has them, also shields. And generally, your starfighter has balanced the power between all of these. However, you can increase the power towards any one of those systems by pressing a button on the D-pad. Left for engines, up for weapons, and then right for your shields. Now, if you have all your power diverted to your engines, it generally increases your maximum speed and your overall maneuverability, but also starts filling up a boost meter that you can use to send yourself flying across the battlefield at incredible speeds. However, you can barely turn while you are boosting. But there is a maneuver that you can pull off called a boost drift that allows you to pull off some crazy 90-degree or full 180-degree turns. You start the boost by clicking down your left stick, and then you click it again and hold the stick. While you're holding that stick, you pull right any direction and you will turn that direction, and you can quickly make some rapid turns using this boost drift maneuver. However, if you're not paying attention, not being careful, it can get you into some sticky situations. I'm still trying to learn how to master this maneuver myself to get around quick corners. But you can also definitely just end up crashing and dying, and you need to be very careful with this technique as you learn it. If you want, I highly recommend going inside the practice area and just trying to drift around as many corners as possible. There's zero stress here, it's just you flying around a bunch of space debris trying to figure out exactly how and when to turn your starfighter. Now, if you divert all power to your weapon systems, you increase the charge rate of your primary weapons. Those are the lasers you fire with your right trigger. And if you already have that bar full, then you'll start to fill up an overcharge laser meter. You can fill that laser bar up twice over, and this not only gives you twice the amount of time to fire your lasers, but that first layer, that overcharged layer of laser, does more damage. And so if you have it overcharged, it's a really good way to enter a fight and mess up somebody's day, knock a couple people out of the round really fast, couple quick kills right off the bat. Then after your weapon systems, you of course have your shields, if your starfighter has shields to divert power to. And what this will do is actually go ahead and, just like you can overcharge your lasers, you can overcharge your shields. You can get a double layer of shields, which gives you even more protection. And however, you know, there's only a limited amount of craft that actually have this feature in terms of shields at all, so not everyone has access to shields. So the starfighters that do have access to shields, what they can do is balance those shields from either the front or the rear, or balance them out. And so that gives you the ability to put more protection where you need it most in a given fight. For example, if I'm taking on a Star Destroyer head on, I'm making a bombing run, I'm going to want to put all my shields to the front. However, if I have somebody on my tail, I'm going to of course want to put all those shields to the back. Or, just like I talked about in that previous instance of you're doing a bombing run on a Star Destroyer, you're going to want to actually change that on the way out. On the way in, you're going to want shields balanced to the front, but then after you have those shields balanced to the front, you make your pass and you're flying away from that Star Destroyer or whichever capital ship, then you're going to switch those shields to the back so you can protect your rear on the way out. And so that's what starfighters that have shields have the capacity to do. But there's a bunch of starfighters that actually can do that, and those are mainly the TIEs on the Imperial side. The TIE Fighter, Bomber, and Interceptor don't have shields, and so they only have engines and weapons. This does give them a couple advantages. Since they only have to divide their ship's power between two systems, they are just outright faster and a little bit more powerful with primary weapons than their Republic counterparts. A TIE Fighter is straight up faster and more maneuverable than an X-Wing. Same thing for a Bomber versus a Y-Wing, and same thing versus a TIE Interceptor versus an A-Wing. But they also get an ability called power shunting, since they don't have shields, where they can quickly dump all of their ship's power into one or the other power system. So if you dump it all into weapons, you get instantly turbocharged lasers at the cost of direct power to your engines, and so you will slow down and won't be able to turn very well if you have done this. However, vice versa, you can do the same thing with your engines. You can power shunt all of your power into your engines, and it will give you an instant turbo boost that you can use to drift. And then what's even crazier is that once you have done the power shunt from one place to another, you can then shunt it back and forth for the duration of that power bar that you've used. Say, for example, you're going to make an attack run on an enemy cruiser or frigate or something like that. You can power shunt to your engines and get a speed boost and only use a portion of it, maybe a third of it, speed boost into the area, and then shunt all that power into your weapons systems, and that will take all the speed boost and put it directly into your power. And then vice versa, if you've managed to shoot out all of the enemies, or do the attack that you wanted to do, you can shunt any remaining weapon power back into your engines and get the speed that you need to get back out of there. And so for all ships, management of your power systems is vital for survival on the battlefield. Not only for dealing damage, but getting away and getting your shields on, or just everything has to do with managing these systems. And we haven't even gotten into actually fighting anybody yet. These are just your basic flight mechanics as they apply to the basic starfighters. And while you would think that learning how to shoot and fire your weapons would be pretty important in a game that's all about destroying enemy starfighters. What I believe is the most important thing in the game to your own survival is learning how to fly well and learning how to manage your power systems. And the practice area is amazing for that. Not only can you spawn in some random enemies, an AI for you to fight against and test out your different components and loadouts, but you can also start a timed obstacle course, which flies you all across this area and forces you to make all kinds of different crazy maneuvers. Unfortunately, there's no actual record keeping for this fastest time that you have made it across the course. It's more like you can, you can tell if you've done bad or good or not. But what it's going to get you used to doing is changing your angles, going through different areas, how to fly your ship, and look for new objectives. And that's a huge part of getting through this game, is navigating yourself through the battlefield, understanding where the next location that you want to go actually is in relation to yourself. So I hope you guys learned something from watching this video. If you did, please drop a like on it and keep your eyes on this channel for a whole host of new Star Wars Squadrons content to come. We have how to do dogfights, actually winning battles. Then you have the fleet battles, which are a giant multi-stage space battle where you and another set of squadron players are taking on enemy capital ships head to head, and it is an intense mode. Takes about 20 to 30 minutes to play through and is quite complex in what you need to do to accomplish that victory. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know as soon as my next video releases. And then in the meantime, I'm not amazing, I'm just mediocre, and I'm out.